Hello everyone and welcome to today's tutorial on UV. In this session, we are going to dive deep into UV, which is an extremely fast Python package manager that simplifies managing dependencies, environments, and running your Python projects. Whether you are a beginner or an experienced developer, UV will help you definitely to speed up your workflow by streamlining package management and ensuring consistency in your development environments. This tutorial will not only introduce you to UV but also show you how to use it to set up project, install dependencies, and execute Python scripts with ease. Now here's the agenda of our today's session. First, we are going to have a thorough understanding about what is UV. Then we are going to install UV. Then we are going to set up our UV's Python project. Moving ahead, we are going to manage dependencies with UV. Then we are going to run Python scripts with UV. Moving ahead, we are going to have a web scraper project. Then we are going to explore another project, which is basically API data fetcher project. And finally, we are going to explore basic commands. Now, before we move ahead, just a quick info, guys. Simplilearn has got data science course. This course is IBM backed. From this course, you are going to earn a recognized data scientist certification to boost your career, where you're going to learn Python, SQL, machine learning, generative AI, and Tableau. And also you're going to work on real-world projects using industry-aligned tools. Here you can earn IBM certificates and benefit from masterclasses by IBM experts, which is in collaboration with IBM. So guys, hurry up now and join the course. The course link is mentioned in the description box. Now, here is a short quiz to test your knowledge. And the question is, what is the primary purpose of UV tool in Python development? And your options are to compile Python scripts into executable files, to manage Python dependencies, environments, and packages efficiently, to debug Python code automatically, or to run Python code in a virtual machine. Please mention your answers in the comment section below. And also guys, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell icon so that you don't miss out any update from our end. So let's get started. So guys, let us first start by understanding what exactly is UV. So guys, UV is a comprehensive tool for managing Python environments, dependencies, and projects. It basically aims to streamline the entire Python development workflow, from installing and managing different Python versions to running scripts and building projects. Let's break it down more in detail. First of all, if you could see all over here, what it does is it manages the versions of Python. One of the UV's core feature is managing different Python versions on your system. And this can be especially useful when you need to work with different Python versions across various projects. First of all, what you need to do is install Python versions, and you can easily install different versions of Python. For example, let's say if your project needs Python 3.8 and let's say another one needs Python 3.9, then UV allows you to install and switch between these two versions. Sounds so amazing, right? And the command for the same is, as you can see all over here, it says UVPython install, and then you can also add the specific version of the Python. Guys, you can also see the list of available Python versions. Now, you can install that if it is not been already installed on your systems. So you need to type UVPython list, which is going to show all the available and installed versions. So guys, you need to type UVPython, and then here you will type list. So this is the command which is going to show you all the versions of Python. You can also find the installed Python versions. Let's say if you are unsure which version of Python you have installed, so you can use UV to check it very quickly. So just type all over here in the command terminal, that is UVPython, and let's say find. So this is going to show you all the installed versions of Python. Now guys, this is also pretty interesting. For each of the project, you may want to pin it to a specific Python version. So your project always uses the exact version. For that, you can use this given command, which is UVPython pin. So all over here, just type UVPython pin, and it is going to pin that Python specific version for your project. Now, let's say you don't want to use this specific Python version. So you can uninstall it also. So let's say if you are no longer using a specific version, you can also uninstall it. So just type this given command all over here. So UVPython uninstall, and this is going to remove it. Now, all over here, we have discussed that UV is an amazing tool, and its Python's version management helps ensure that you are using the right version of Python for each one of your projects, which is kind of very crucial for avoiding the compatibility issues. So guys, with UV, you can also easily run and manage standalone Python scripts. This is great when you are actually working with small single file scripts and need an easy way to execute them. For example, let's say you have a very basic script. For example, in example.py, you have print hello world. So you can run it with a simple command, and this is going to make it easy to execute your scripts without having to manually set up a virtual environment. Now, all you need to type is uv run and then your given file name. For example, all over here, you need to type uv run, and let's say the file name is example.py, so just type your given file name. Now, this is going to run your given Python script. Guys, you can also add or remove dependencies to a script. Let's say if your script needs a certain Python library or dependency to work with, then UV also lets you to add or remove them easily. This is very useful for ensuring that your script runs the correct libraries installed. And for that, you need to just type this given command. All over here, go to your terminal and type uv add -- given script. So let's say uv add and give -- given script. So guys, this is going to add a given dependency. Now, let's say if you want to remove any dependency, so all over here, you can type remove, okay, and then -- script. So guys, the script management feature in UV is actually designed for simplicity, and it ensures that running and managing dependencies for smaller projects is pretty easier. Let's say for larger Python project, UV also offers a set of commands to help you manage all aspects of the project, like including dependencies, environment, synchronization, and project building. All you need to do is create a Python project, then initialize a new project with pyproject.toml file, which is the standard file for Python project metadata. And this file is going to help manage your project dependencies, scripts, and other settings. Now, let us try to install UV such that you have a fair idea how to get started with it. So guys, I am at the official documentation of UV, and there are a couple of ways which you can install UV. So the first one, let's say like the standalone version. So let's say if you are in macOS or Linux, just copy this given command. Okay, just click on macOS. So you are going to use curl command for the same and -lsf and just give this given URL. So this is basically a shell command which is going to install UV. Next, let's say if your system does not have curl in it, then what you can do, you can use wget and give this given URL all over here. Let's say if you want to request a specific version of installation, so you can use the given thing. For the same purpose, you can type curl and then lsf and then you give this given URL and it is going to install a specific version of UV. So here you can see we have added 0.910. Now similarly for Windows, all you need to do is go to your PowerShell and run it in the administrator mode and then copy this given command, PowerShell execution policy bypass, and then you give this given URL. Also, you can request a specific version also. So for the same purpose, all over here, you need to type PowerShell -execution policy, and then you go to this given URL that you have. Now, this is for those who actually want to install it from their PowerShell or from their terminal. Now, there are a couple of other ways also to install UV. Next, let's say if you have pip installed on your system. Okay, let's say if you already have Python, then you can use the pip interface to actually install UV. All you need to type all over here, pipx install UV, or just type pip install UV. Let me show you, since my system already has Python, so I can install easily using this. So guys, as you can see all over here, I have typed pip install UV. Now I'll just click enter and let's see what is going to happen. And you can see it has already installed this given thing. Now I'm getting some update regarding the pip, which I'm going to do it later. But this is a very standard command. If you already have Python, make sure that your Python version is greater than 3, such that you already have pip by default on your Python. Now, this was through pip. Now let us explore some other ways. Now, let's say if you have Homebrew, then you can also use Homebrew to install the UV. All you need to type is brew install UV, or let's say if you are using the Mac ports, so via Mac ports also you can do it. All you need to type sudo port install UV, and as we have already discussed about Winget, you can also use this. For that, you use this command. You can also use this through scoop. So scoop install main UV. Now, this was the given thing. And the most interesting thing is, which is followed across most of the scenarios, installing it through Docker. So if you want to install it through Docker all over here, so you can see if you go to your Docker desktop, so you're going to get this given, the package or given image all over here. So you can just pull this given thing all over here if you have Docker installed on your system. So all you need to type is docker pull and just give this given URL. Okay, so this is going to pull the latest image of UV. Okay, and through it you can install it on a Docker. So I hope so, guys, you would have got a brief idea how to install UV. Now let's move ahead. Now, guys, let us try to explore some of the basic things like setting up our project using UV and also running our first command. Now, make sure that you have installed UV on your system. After that, what we are going to do is we are going to type this given command, which is UV init example. So it is going to initialize the given project all over here. Now, if you click, then you can see we have got the example project. Now, let us move ahead. Next thing, let's migrate to our given folder, which is cd example. Now, just type this and you can see all over here, we are inside this given example. Next up, let us try to add rough all over here. So for that, just type this given command and you can see all over here using CPython, it has installed rough with the version 0.14.5. Now let us try to run this UV run rough check. So just type this given thing and let's try to wait. And you can see it says all the checks are passed. Now till here, it's going pretty good. Now let us move to the next step. Let us try to use UV lock. And you can see all over here, it has resolved these given things. Finally, run this UV sync and you can see it says resolve 2 packages in 4 milliseconds, audited 1 package in 0.06 milliseconds. Now guys, the first command that we did all over here, UV init example. So basically UV init starts a new project and sets up the necessary project files. Then you can also add or remove dependencies. For that, I've already showed you the given command if it's needed. So you can see I've added a dependency called rough all over here. So that is one of the very important dependency. Now guys, as you can see all over here, I am running this command UV run rough. Okay. And here I have added UV add rough. So basically what is rough? So rough is a very important dependency. So basically rough is a super fast Python linter and formatter dependency, which we have added in our project. And what happens internally is it is going to add rough under project.dependencies in our pyproject.toml file. And then it is going to download it to the project's environment. And it makes it available for commands like rough check to exactly work. So you can see all over here when we ran this given command, okay, so you can see we got all checks are passed. So guys, without adding rough, we won't be able to run this given command. Now, basically when we have run this given command, so the entire purpose was to check our Python files for formatting and style issues. So that's why we have written this given command. Then you can see we have added UV lock. So basically this command is creating or update the lock file and it produces a file called uv.lock. And then it freezes exact version of the dependencies, including the indirect ones. And also it ensures that any reproducible builds on any machine. Next command you can see all over here, we have got UV sync. Now this is basically syncing the environment with the dependency specification. Basically UV sync does what? It reads the pipeproject.toml file and then it logs that given dependencies. Also it installs any missing packages and also it removes any outdated or unnecessary package such that it ensures your local environment matches exactly the log file. If you would have worked with Node.js or let's say React, so there you would have typed npm install. It is kind of similar to that. Now, this is kind of a recommended use case where you can try this. So always run UV sync after cloning a project or when the dependencies change. It's kind of very helpful in that given scenario. Now guys, let us try to explore the given folder structure. So you can see all over here, this is our given subfolder or the directory which is created under the UV folder. And then you can see we have the .venv folder. This folder contains the virtual environment which we have created for our project, and this is inside venv. Then if you open this, then all over here, you're going to find lib sites that packages. So basically this is containing all the installed Python packages such as rough in our case. Then you are also going to find a folder all over here which is your scripts folder. So basically this is a directory which holds executables and scripts which is used to activate and manage the virtual environment. So which includes also python.exe file all over here. And you can also see we have this given file rough.exe. We also have activate.bat files. So basically this script activates the virtual environment and this script deactivates the virtual environment. Then we can see we have main.py. So this is likely the entry point of our Python application where the core logic is run. And then you can see this given file that we have which is pipeproject.toml file. So basically this is a configuration file for managing dependencies and project settings. This is typical for modern Python projects and it is used by tools like UV and Poetry. Then you can also see we have a gitignore file also. So guys, this was the brief idea regarding the basic folder structure that we have created using UV. I hope so you are clear with it. Now, let us try to do one hands-on to get more idea regarding this. Now guys, in this project, we are going to simulate the setup of web scraper using the request and beautiful SOAP libraries. We will simulate installing dependencies, setting up a virtual environment, and running the script using UV. Now, in this project, let us first create the given folders. So very basic. First, let us try to do this command, which is mkdir web scraper project. So you can see all over here, we have created our respective directory. Now, next what we want to do is, let us go to the given directory. So type cd web scraper project. Now you can see we are in this given directory. And next is initializing the given project with the UV. So for the same purpose, type UV init, and it is going to initialize our web scraper project. Now let us see the file and folder. So you can see we have main.py, Python version, and pipeproject.toml file. Now guys, it's time for us to add the respective dependencies. And for adding the dependencies, we are going to add request and beautiful SOAP 4. And you can see it has started downloading all those dependencies. So we can see we have beautiful SOAP 4, which is 4.14. And then we can see we have the request library also. Now guys, let us go to our pipeproject.toml file. And here let us see the given dependencies. So you can see we have these respective dependencies, which are beautiful SOAP 4 and requests. So these are their respective versions. Now guys, it's time for us to write the main file. Now guys, let us create a new file named scraper.py. Just type scraper.py. Now let us write some codes all over here. So first of all, we are going to import request. So start with echo and then give 1 comma and type import request. Then you give the given library name. Then you need to type from let's say bs4, which is beautiful soap 4. Okay guys, now let us try to work with scrapper.py file. So first of all, let us import request, which we have already installed. So you can see request version is 2.3, 2.5, and for the same purpose, if I have to use it, I have to type import request. Now let us try to import beautiful soap. So this is beautiful soap 4 and we are importing it all over here. Next step that we are trying to do is fetching the web page. So guys, for the same purpose, let us create a variable called response and then use the request library all over here with a method called get. Now inside this given method, you have to add your given URL. Let's say for example, the given URL is https example.com. Let us try to open this URL. Let's see what's there. So you can see this is just a simple domain, okay? Very basic website for testing. So I have used this given website. Now let us parse the HTML content, okay? So for parsing the HTML content, I will be using beautiful soap library. So let us create a variable called soap and use this given library called as beautiful soap. Now all over here, the variable which we have created, that is response, we will use it, and then what we are going to use it inside the beautiful soap, we are going to parse the HTML content to the text. So response.text, and then we are going to add a HTML parser all over here. Basically, all your HTML content will be parsed and stored in the soap. Now, let us try to find all the h1 tags that are present. So let us create a variable h1 tags, and since the HTML content is parsed in soup, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use an inbuilt method which is already present in beautiful soap. So soup.findAll, and I will give this given value to find h1. Okay. Now for tags present in the given h1 tags, I just want to print their respective text. Okay, so this is the given thing that we basically did. Now the script that we have written all over here, what it does is it fetches a web page which is example.com. It parses the HTML content using the beautiful soap, and it is going to print all the content of the h1 tags. Now the final step is running the given script with UV. So all we need to type is UV run scrapper.py. Now let us try to execute it. So UV run scraper.py. Let's try to wait for the output. And you can see we have got this given h1 tag, which is example domain. Pretty interesting, no guys, that we have done our first project using UV. And this is a pretty fast tool. So guys, you can add it in your given tool set if you are using Python or if you are a Python developer. So instead of pip, now you can also explore UV. Now guys, before we move ahead with the next project, let us try to follow the next step, that is freezing the requirements. Now to ensure that others can replicate your environment, compile the dependencies into requirements.txt using UV. So what you can do is you can compile the given thing with the UV command. So guys, all you need to type all over here is UV pip compile -- universal, then -- output file, then requirements.txt and requirements.in. So this will be our required file all over here. Make sure that if you don't have the source file, which is requirements.in, where you basically have the top level dependencies that you have installed, then it is not going to freeze the given file. And you can see also all over here, when you type this given command, you are going to get output something like this. So basically it has freezed your respective environment. Now in the next step, let's say if you want to sync the environment based on your requirements.txt file. For instance, if you are sharing the project setting or you are setting the given project on another machine, you can use the sync command. So all you need to type is UV pip sync and then type the file name requirements.txt. Now this will ensure that the environment matches with the exact dependencies and the versions listed in requirements.txt file. So all you need to type UV pip sync and then requirements.txt. So this is going to sync your given file. So guys, this was our project 1. I hope so you would have got a brief idea regarding this. Now let us move to the next project, and that project is also pretty interesting. Now guys, in the next project, we are going to simulate an API data fetcher that retrieves the data from a public API, for example, the JSON placeholder API, and process it and stores it in a result, which is basically a CSV file. So first of all, let me give you a brief overview of the project. So basically, first we are going to fetch user data from the JSON placeholder API, process it, and then save it in a CSV file. The libraries that we will be using is the request library for making HTTP requests to the API. Then we are going to use CSV file for writing the data to the CSV file. And also we are going to use the UV tool for managing the environment and dependencies. Now let us initialize our project using UV. So let us first start by creating a new directory for the project and then initialize it with UV. So guys, all over here, type mkdir and let's say the file name is API data fetcher. Make sure you are on your root project. So you can see all over here, we have got this given API data fetcher. Okay, the name is kind of pretty different, but no worries. Let's clear our given terminal. Okay, now let's direct to the given folder. So cd API hyphen data hyphen FRT CHER. Now the next step that what we need to do is we need to type UV and then init, and then what we can do is initialize it all over here, and you can see our given project has been initialized. Now next step that we also need to do is that we need to create a virtual environment also. So let us try to do that. So guys, you can see after typing UV create, we have created our given, let's say, virtual environments, and also let us activate this virtual environment. So for the same purpose, what we are going to do, we are going to type UV activate. So type all over here UV activate. Now you can see we have the activate file and we have the create file. Now guys, let us try to add this respective dependency, which is the request that we did in the earlier project. So just type UV add request and you can see all over here. So it has added the request library. Now let us check whether it is being reflected in our toml file or not. So let us try to go all over here and we can see we have the given respective request library. So guys, all over here, the next thing that we are going to do is let us create a Python file name all over here, fetch and export.py. So this will be our given file name. Now guys, we have created fetch and export.py file where we are going to make an API request to the JSON placeholder to fetch the user data. Then we are going to process the data or extract the names and the email. And then finally, we are going to save the data to the CSV file. So first, let's start by doing the imports. Now guys, let us try to understand this given file. And this is a very important file because here we are going to write our given script. So first of all, let us import the important things like request and CSV. Okay. Then in the next step, what we are basically trying to do is we are trying to fetch the data from the JSON placeholder API. Now let us try to open this given API. So let me also show you what this API consists of. So copy this given thing and then you can click all over here, follow the link, and you can see this will going to get directed all over here. Now you can see in this given API, we are having ID, name, username, email, address, street, suit, city, zip code, geographical location with latitude and longitude. So basically it's the name of the person and its entire data. And similarly, there are a lot of other things also like phone name, website, company, and any other like businesses which the given person has. So with respective to this ID, there are 2 IDs, then 3, 4, and it goes on to a very 10 persons data in this given API. Now, this is pretty interesting for the simulation purposes, and I would request you that you can also use the given API to do the given things. So that's pretty interesting. Now, Next up, what we're going to do is we are going to fetch the data. So let us initialize your variable all over here, which is URL. And after that, assign it to the given URL name that we have all over here. Then we create another variable, which is basically called as response. So response is going to store all over here, all the data which is present in the API, which is in the format of JSON. So we are going to store all the data in the response file. So we type request.get and we use this given URL. Now we use the get method all over here to access the given JSON data. Next up, we are going to check if the request was successful or not. Now we use the if statement and we check if the response or status code was 200. So basically all over here means if the request was successful to retrieve the data, then we are going to store the data in the users variable. So all the things which is present in the response is being converted into the JSON object, and then you are basically storing it in the user. Now let us try to process the data and write it to a CSV file. So basically we use this function with, let's say with open, and there we are basically using this CSV file, which is users.csv. And the mode that we are going to do is a write mode. We are going to write, and we are also adding some new lines all over here in the given file. And then we initialize our writer and we use the CSV module that we have imported to write the given file. And then we are using the write row function. So in the row, we are going to add name, email, and city. So this will be our given header row all over here in the CSV file. Now, in the data that we have in the users.csv file, so for users in users, we are going to iterate it right now. And this variable is going to go to this given CSV file where all the JSON data is there. And then we are going to assign name, email, city, and all those things. So basically we are using this given variable user, and we are going to add name, email, and address, and city is also being added with 2 parameters. So this is address and city. So both of them are added. And basically we have added the given values in a given row. So based on the columns that we have given name, email, and city. So the writer.write row function is going to write all these data for each one of the IDs basically that were present in our JSON file. So that will be our data row. Then we save this data to a CSV file. If it is failing, we give a status code, which is basically coming from the request library. So all over here, we just directly, give the status code. So response.status code. So this is going to return like what is the error that we are receiving if it is not able to retrieve the given data. So that's pretty interesting. Okay. So I hope so you would have got a brief idea regarding this logic that we are trying to do. So basically we are trying to fetch the data from a given API. Now let us move to the next step. Now guys, let us try to run this given file. So type uv run and then type fetch and let's say export and basically .py. Let us wait for the output. And you can see we are getting this output data saved to users.csv file. Now we have got this given file users.csv, and you can see all over here, this is the name, email, and city. So you can see name is there, then email is there, then the given city, and all of these data is stored in a CSV. Pretty interesting, guys. You can see how easily we have taken a JSON data and converted it into your given respective file all over here, which is users.csv file. Guys, I've always loved Python and its simplicity to do tremendous tasks, and the syntax, you can also see it's so much easier to understand and work with. Now guys, the next step would be the same as we did earlier. Create a source file name requirements.in, mention the top level dependencies. Now, when you're going to compile it after you have, basically synced your given project and by creating the given command. So I'll just show you that command once more, basically what we did earlier. So guys, this was the given command, UV pip compile -- universal output file is a requirement.txt, and then you create requirements.in file, basically where you are going to add the top level dependencies. Now, this is going to generate a file called requirements.txt. And let's say if someone is actually using your project, he does not need to alter anything. He can use your project with the existing dependencies. And UV pip sync, if you are trying to do this command, then this is going to ensure that the environment matches exactly as the dependencies listed in the requirements.txt file. Now, there are a couple of benefits of doing these things. So first of all, we get a very isolated environment such that, where your dependencies are present. Like, for example, in this case was request. In our earlier project, it was beautiful soap and request. Then it is reproducible. So by generating requirements.txt file using UV and doing pip sync, what you can do is you can ensure anyone can use your project with the same dependency versions that you have. And finally, it's platform independent, and that's was the most beautiful thing about it. So guys, the universal flag here ensures that the requirements.txt file is platform independent, making sure that our project is portable across different operating systems. I hope so guys, you would have got a brief idea regarding this given thing. I hope so guys, you would have got a brief idea regarding this project. So guys, now let us discuss some of the important commands. As you know that UV tool is a modern Python package manager, and it provides an extremely fast and feature-rich interface to manage your Python environments, dependencies, and packages. It also extends the functionality of traditional tools like pip and also virtualenv, offering more advanced feature for dependency resolution, environment management, and many more things. Now, we are going to explore some of the core commands and their functions. First of all, we have this UV auth. Okay, so this is particularly used for managing authentication for services. You can log in, log out, and retrieve authentication tokens for services you interact with. Then you have UV auth login. Basically what it does is it logs into a service. Then you have UV auth logout, and this command logs out from the service. Then you have UV auth token. Basically, it displays the authentication token for a service. Next up, we have UV auth dir. Basically, this command shows the path to the credentials directory. Next up, you have UV run. Basically, it executes command or script in an isolated environment, which is basically managed by UV. For example, you can run UV run Python scripts and you give the script name, like we did in our project. Next up, you're going to find UV init. Basically, it initializes a new project. It sets up a directory structure and creates necessary file like py.toml file, which you have already seen in our project. Next up, we have UV add. So if I talk about UV add, basically this command adds dependencies to our project. This is kind of similar to pip install, but it is handled through UV with more advanced features for dependency management. Then you have UV remove. Basically, this command removes dependencies from your project, which is similar to pip uninstall. Then you are going to also find UV version. Basically, this command reads or updates the versions of the project. Then you have UV sync. Basically, this command syncs your environment, updating it to match the dependencies specified in your log file, which is like similar to pip install -r flag, and then you give the requirements.txt file. Next up, we have UV log. Basically, this command updates the project's log file, ensuring the specific versions of dependencies are logged in and can be reproduced in any environment. Next up, we have UV export. Basically, this command exports the log file to an alternative format, which might be useful for sharing the project or integrating it into different environment. Next up, we have UV tree. So guys, this command basically displays the project dependency tree, helping you to visualize how dependencies are structured. Next up, we have UV format. Basically, this command formats the Python code in the project, which is kind of similar to AutoPep 8. Next up, we have this given command, UV tool. Basically, this command installs and runs command line tools provided by Python packages. For example, you can run a tool like pycowsay with UV tool pycowsay hello world, and in this it is going to give hello world as output, and also you're going to see a cow's image. Next up, we have UVPython. Basically, guys, this command manages Python versions, installations. It helps you use specific versions of Python, which is either managed by UV or the system. Next up, we have UVpip. Basically, this command provides a pip compatible interface for managing Python packages. And it includes commands like UVPip install, UVPip uninstall, UVPip sync, but with extra features like platform independent resolutions and faster performance. Next up, we have UVVNV. Basically, this command creates a new virtual environment for the projects, and this is kind of similar to Python-m VNV. Next up, we have this given command UVbuild. Basically, this command builds Python packages into source distributions and wheels. Next up, we have UVpublish. So guys, basically this command uploads distribution to a Python's index such as pypy, which is Python package index. Then you can also see UV cache. So this command manages the cache for downloaded dependencies and other data. Then guys, you are going to find out UV self. Basically, this command manages the UV executable itself, allowing you to update or check the version of UV. Next up, you see there is another command which says UV help. Basically, this command helps in documentation for any UV command. Now guys, let us also explore some of the options. Now you can see all over here we have -- allow insecure hosts. Basically, it allows connections to insecure hosts, and you can use it with caution as it disables SSL certification. Then you have -- cache dir. Basically, it specifies the cache directory for storing the credentials. Next up, we have -- color. Basically, this command controls the use of color in the output. So there are three options like auto, always, or never. Then you have this given command -- config file, and it specifies a custom configuration file. Then you can also see this option -- directory. Basically, it changes the working directory prior to executing the command. Next up, you can see this command -- no cache. Basically, this command avoids the use of cache, and instead it uses temporary files for the operation. Next up, we have -- offline. It disables network access and only use it locally with the available data. Next up, you can see this option also -- username. And the username option helps you in the authentication process. Now guys, also you can see there is another option -- password. So basically, using this option will help you to use password for any service which you are using. Now, there are a couple of other commands also which you can explore. So all over here, you also have this option for help. So basically with this command, you're going to see a couple of other commands which you can use in your given project. Now guys, let us try to understand -- keyring - provider. Basically, this option is very helpful in storing the credential. And you can see it is actually supported natively for the login. And it uses the system keyring via integration that is built into UV. Kind of pretty interesting. So you can see there you are going to get this variable, which basically we store it as an environment variable. And you can create a .env file for the same. And there, possibly you can have two options. First option is disabled. Second option is subprocess. Now, if I talk about disabled, guys, in the disabled, it says do not use keyring for credential lookups. And in the subprocess, it says to use a keyring for the credential lookup. So this is a pretty interesting option that I have. Next option, what you can see all over here is native TLS. Now let's take an example of a scenario. Let's say you're trying to load a TLS certificate from the platforms like which are kind of native to the certificate store. And let's say your certificates are bundled in this form like web key, root, and also which is basically a reliable source where you can trust Okay, and also let's say if you are using any browser, let's say it would be Mozilla, Chrome, or let's say Edge. Okay, so you can use a native TLS to load the TLS certificate. So this is also pretty amazing. You can use UV along with that. So that's kind of pretty interesting. Then you can see we have this given option as --no config. Now, in this given option, let's say when you are trying to discover the configurations file, like say for example, the toml file that I showed you in the project. So basically it is going to avoid discovering those configuration files. And this is kind of pretty interesting. You can also create an environment variable, okay, with UV no config in your .env file, which is going to give a hint that, okay, do not look for the configuration files, basically the toml files that you have. Then you can also see you have this option --no Python downloads. Now, what is this option all about? Basically, this is going to disable the downloads of the Python. Next up, we have --offline. So what this command is going to do, this is going to disable the network access. Also, when it is basically disabled, so what is going to happen? The UV is going to locally cache the data, okay? And it is going to make you available locally. Pretty interesting actually, and you can use this given variable in your .env file, which is basically UV-offline. So you can set this given property using this also. Now you can see you have this one more given option, which is --project. Now what this option is all about, it is kind of pretty evident that when you are trying to run the command, so it is going to run in that given project directory. Okay, now let's say all the given files like say pyproject.toml, uv.toml, and all these given version files will be discovered from that given directory, let's say where your project is. So let's say if you are creating a virtual environment, so your virtual environment will be created in that respective directory. So kind of pretty interesting, and this is also one of the very amazing options. And also you can set this property using UV-project environment variable. Next up, you can see we have an option --quiet. Basically, let's say if you want a quiet output, so for that purpose you can use it, meaning it is going to enable a silent mode, so in which UV is not going to write any output to the your given console. So guys, this kind of resembles to quiet. Then you can see we have another option --token. Now this is basically used if you are using any token for any service, or you can set this given thing. So this is a given option that you can use. Pretty interesting one. Next up, what you have is verbose. Now basically this is going to give you a very fine-grained output. Okay, so you can also use this given variable, which is rust-log, as an environment variable, so such that to get a very detailed output in your given log, let's say on your given terminal. So that's kind of pretty interesting. Now guys, we have actually seen most of the given thing all over here. So you can explore this given documentation, which is basically by astral.sh, and there are a lot of things which is associated to UV. But the best way to learn UV is by doing the projects. So I tried to do some simulation today, and I hope so that you will also try. And if you face any problem, just mention your doubts in the comment section below, and our team of experts will definitely answer your query. So guys, this was all about our UVPython tutorial. I hope so you liked this tool. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you like these kind of videos, then do not forget to hit the subscribe button and notification bell icon so that you don't miss out any update from our end. Thank you guys for watching this video.